This is the Bigger Infinity Podcast, a Violet Spark production. Welcome to the Bigger Infinity Podcast, where we unzip and shrug off perceptions and beliefs, and maybe even a little bit of our reality. This is a podcast to inspire a journey of discovery and self-discovery, but also to inspire a little bit of curiosity and playfulness. Join me on this journey as we explore unlimited possibilities and create a bigger infinity. Hi, welcome to the Bigger Infinity Podcast. I'm Beth Gillier, and this is episode 9. I have no plans on what I'm going to talk about, but I just felt like getting a podcast out there, so trying to stay on top of it a little bit. I hope you all are doing okay. I know a lot of people were hit hard with the hurricane, the first hurricane, and then I don't know if it's Ellen or Helen, and then now with Milton. So it's a little bit crazy. I don't know, and there seems like there's other stuff. Just everything's a little bit crazy. I heard there were some massive solar flares. Yeah, I don't know what's going on out there. So in the last episode, I talked about how sort of the nature of reality and how we create our own reality. And sometimes that's a little bit of a downer, honestly. And sometimes the way I think about the nature of reality, because in ways, I don't know if you've heard a lot of people say that, reality is a simulation. And in some ways it kind of is. But when I think of it that way, I don't know, I feel like it loses a lot of meaning. Like, okay, so what's the point, right? So I think it's all about just finding what works for you, like just making sense of the world. Because the thing is, we can't really understand. There's no way. First of all, we're limited by language, and we are limited by our, localized brain, which honestly, I mean, that's the whole point of having this sort of human experience, is to, go through this life and have these experiences in this human form as a human. And, the reason behind that, who knows, right? So you kind of have to go with what works for you. And if, some people are religious and they like, if you like the religious dogma, then, and that works for you, then that's great. We each have to find our own thing that just makes living a little bit more meaningful. If you feel like you have a purpose or you have a passion, and it can be as simple as just, we're here to enjoy life, to enjoy the experiences that we have. And that's, sometimes I do keep it as simple as that. Like, we're just here to, it's not some sort of great quest for happiness or riches or lessons, although sometimes I do like to think about, there are some schools of thought or theories that, Earth is kind of a big school, and we incarnate onto into this human form to learn lessons. And sometimes I do like to think that's true. I read a book, I don't know if I've talked about this before. I read a book called Journey of Souls, and it was a therapist, and he started doing hypnosis, I think, as a way to just help people, with their problems. And he inadvertently discovered that he could take people back under hypnosis to the time between lives, like between their incarnations, and they would just tell him. It was kind of fascinating, and it's kind of how I like to think about things. I don't know some of the things they talked about. And again, it could be limited by language. And I'm not saying it was right or wrong, but some of the things that people talked about, like between their lives, to me sounded maybe a little off. Who knows? But like, who really knows, right? And it was just really fascinating. And then there was another book I read called The Blue Island by, I'm not going to remember the name. Like William Stead or I don't know. T.W. Stead. I don't know. I could look it up. It's called The Blue Island. But this man actually died on the Titanic. And he wrote the book through, I don't know if you've heard of automatic writing. So like people who are mediums, and maybe they're not, like some people can channel spirit through writing. And he had dabbled in like the occult. I mean, this is back in the early 1900s. He dabbled in the occult and actually dabbled with automatic writing and channeling spirits through writing. And he had taught his daughter how to do it. And so she wrote this book for him after he died. And it's about like what happens to us after we die. And it's really, and again, like we have no way of knowing, right? But it was really, really interesting. And there was actually a foreword by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, who wrote the Sherlock Holmes books. And he had known this Mr. Stead. I'm sorry, I can't remember his name. He had known him during his lifetime, and he confirmed that it had been written in his, like, the way that he would write. So I thought that was pretty interesting. But I really liked the way that he described. To me, that book was really profound because it just felt true. You know how when something just resonates and it feels true, even though you have no way of knowing whether or not it's true. But just the way that he described, what happens to us after we die. And it's almost like just a continuation of the lessons that we learn in this life. And you kind of have a chance to, like, you go to this place, he called it a blue island, but it was kind of this place that was very human-esque or earth-esque, I guess, to kind of help you transition and you can kind of like enjoy the perks of human life, but like in a place that's, transitional, and you can kind of stay there as long as you want. And there's just this really kind of feeling of quest for knowledge. Like you can play and do and discover, and there's kind of like libraries. I don't know. I'd have to read it again. I don't really remember it that well. But what struck me was that, like, in the past, 5 years, I mean, maybe always, but like, especially in the past 5 years, I've just had this like thirst for knowledge and finding stuff out and going down rabbit holes. And, I wanted to, which is why I kind of wanted to do this podcast, because I want people to have access to a place where they can just listen and kind of just get inspiration. Because I don't know anything that you don't already know. I might have different beliefs than you have, but like, I just want to be here. When I was like watching videos and podcasts, I know I've said this before, but like, it really just felt like reminders. Either it didn't resonate and I didn't agree with it, or it would just be something like, oh yeah, like that's important. I need to remember that. So it's like good reminders, and it's kind of inspiration to do your own research and find out, dive deep into the things that you're curious about, bring the bigger infinity is all about bringing curiosity to everything, to your life, to the way you feel, to, your relationships, to just things that you want to find out, things you want to know, things you want to discover, things you want to learn how to do even. But yeah, I kind of took that dive into spirituality and life after death and consciousness and non-duality. And I mean, I just find it all, and then you keep, it's just so very interesting. And then you keep what resonates with you. And then it evolves. Like the things that maybe I used to think were important, or that I believed even 5 years ago, some of that has evolved. So I've just kind of found my own way. And I do go back and forth. Like, I do really feel like we create our own reality. I feel like we are just consciousness, or I like to call it love, because that resonates with me. And it's not romantic love. It's that unconditional love, that power, that force, that energy that runs through us and the universe, if there really is a universe. Because, space-time is not fundamental. But the way that we see reality, and, I do like to, I like to say that the universe, I like to give, anthropomorphize the universe, and that it's always looking out for me and giving me what I need. And I don't know if that's not really true, but I do like to use those words because I like that. It feels good. It feels good to know the universe is like, dropping things in my path and I'm picking them up. Like, we've found, I help my husband with his business, and somebody just happened to mention this market, or a show. It was a fall festival in Cripple Creek, Colorado. And it was actually the week before. So it was like really late notice. Usually you can't get into things like that at such late notice, but we were able to get in. And I just felt like I've just been noticing like little bits of things, just like, and I'm paying attention to them and I'm acting on them. So I feel like the universe is like dropping things in my path for me to pick up on, and like, okay, yeah, I need to do that. Let's do that. And then it just works out. So, it's kind of like you're in flow, and like things are easier when you're doing that and you're noticing and you're picking up on things instead of, using your brain and your logic and thinking too much about it and not listening and not following. You kind of get some resistance and it makes life harder. So I kind of feel like, yeah, the universe has my back and I'm paying attention, and it makes life easier, right? When you're listening to your instincts and your intuition. And that was kind of an aside, so I can't remember what I was talking about before, but just kind of the different ways you can think about things. So I was saying I feel like we're all consciousness. We're all part of this universal energy that you can call consciousness, you can call love, God, you can call it the universe, you can call it whatever you want. But it's just this, it's a thing that's fundamental, that's there before everything else, before your physical body and your brain and your, and space and time and everything physical, right? So, and then I go, and then I don't know. Sometimes I feel like I have beliefs that are a little bit contradictory, because, I feel like if we're rendering our reality in real time, and creating our own reality, then I don't know, sometimes that flies in the face of some of the other things that I just like to believe, but I think that's okay. Because it's like, again, whatever gets you through the day, whatever makes life a little bit more fun, a little bit more interesting. Because I do want a little more meaning. I do want a little more depth to my reality, to give meaning to this life. And, the reason I was talking about the whole journey of souls and life, reincarnation, I do personally like to believe that we are kind of souls. We're like this energy, this consciousness, and we reincarnate. as humans to have different experiences each time. And it could be to learn lessons, like particular lessons in a lifetime. But I don't know that for sure. We don't really have any way of knowing. It's all really just theory or belief. But I find it interesting. Oops, I'm going to pause. Okay, sorry. My son came home. We played Minecraft for a little bit. All right, where was I? So I think we're talking about lessons. It's, sometimes I like to think that, well, I don't know if I like to think it, but sometimes it makes sense to me that, we're here to learn specific lessons. Like we come into our life. And that was one of the things they mentioned in the Journey of Souls, which I had heard from other places as well. Like before we reincarnate, our soul supposedly decides to, or decides like which lessons that it wants to work on or learn in this next lifetime before you're born. And there's like there's soul contracts that you might have with other souls that you're gonna, like, you agree to work on different things together, or you come together in this life to, go through certain things. And I don't know, like, I feel like that's a good way to look at things sometimes. Sometimes it just helps make sense of the stuff that you go through in life. So, there are sometimes, and I feel like there's like kind of overarching lessons. Like, I don't know if I heard this somewhere, or I just feel like sometimes you go through a life to learn, like a certain life to learn about death and to kind of come to grips with death and understand death. And so you're just surrounded by a lot of death in that lifetime, which I feel like I've already gone through that lifetime. That's not this lifetime. This lifetime, I feel like I'm more, if this is true, and if I had to sort of boil it all down, I think I'm here to learn about love and the power of love, and actually just kind of, I feel like I'm in a life where I'm like learning, I'm starting to understand and remember more about just all of this, if this is really true. Who knows? I don't really know. But yeah, it's just an interesting way to think about things. And if you come into this life and you are here to like overcome a certain disability, or you're here to overcome like a certain set of challenges. And so it kind of helps you, like, if you look at it that way, it kind of helps you like step back from that victim mentality, like, poor me, why is this happening to me? You can rephrase that and ask yourself, why is this happening for me? Like, what am I meant to learn from this? And to me, like, even if it's not true that we reincarnate on earth to learn lessons, like, even if that's not true, what's the downside of asking yourself, why is this happening for me? Like, what is this teaching me? What am I learning from this? Because it kind of just helps you like process it. And, everything, if you think about it, everything that you have been through your whole life has brought you to this moment right now. And, no matter what you're going through, like, I feel like it's for your highest good. Like, everything good that has also happened to you, like, I don't know if you're going through a rough patch or whatever, but everything, at least I can say this for my life. I can't really speak to other people's realities, but everything that's happened to me in this life has brought me to this moment, this current set of circumstances. And even though sometimes it's not my ideal set of circumstances for one reason or another, like, overall, like, it's pretty great. Like, I really feel like I have freaking leveled up so many times in my life, and I'm at this point, and when things do happen or are extra difficult, or I'm struggling with something, I know I'm leveling up. It's like, a video game, which kind of goes back to the whole simulation theory, but like, yeah, it's like I'm playing this video game on my virtual reality headset in my reality, and I'm freaking leveling up. So that my current set of circumstances are like so much better than, they were 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, Um, if you ever think about what you would tell your younger self about how your life is right now. And maybe you are going through a rough patch and things are not great, but whatever it is you are going through is leading you to the next thing. You are leveling up, and you are going to get to a place where maybe you're not even going to believe like how great it is. And you had to go through the thing in order to, learn whatever you need to learn, or experience whatever it is you needed to experience, to overcome your sense of lack, your sense of victim mentality, to get to the point where, things are good and things are, and you're so grateful. And it's normal to have ups and downs. Like nothing, if life were perfect and we were happy all the time, it would be kind of boring. I'm not going to lie. And the thing is that you can find joy and happiness in any situation. And part of that, is like a huge lesson for everyone in every life is being able to be present in the moment, connect with that, pure consciousness or love or energy, that we are, even though we are in this localized human form, we still have access to that pure consciousness, that sense of peace, because we are all one. And, that oneness, that connection, that in any present moment if you connect with that and you feel it and you feel gratitude and you can feel joy and happiness, no matter what you're going through, if you just kind of stop and be present and feel that oneness, feel that connection. So that is just all my meandering thoughts for the day. And just the way it's so important. It doesn't really matter what you believe, as long as you don't let your beliefs limit you. So if you have a core belief about yourself, what is that core belief telling you? Is, what are you, do you feel like you are lovable, that you are important, that you are amazing, that you are unique, that you are, an amazing human being? Or are you telling yourself that, things that are limiting you, or things that make you feel bad about yourself or your life? Do you believe you are, that you are more powerful than you think? Do you believe that things are way more amazing, in this bigger infinity than we can even begin to comprehend? Or are you telling yourself that, life sucks and the world is out to get you? Whatever it is you believe, whether you believe in, religion or spirituality or nothing. I don't know. I guess you can't really believe in nothing specifically, but whatever it is you believe, make sure that it is empowering you and not limiting you, basically. And And the things that you tell yourself, the stories you tell yourself, and the labels you give yourself, make sure that those are not limiting you, because it's all just words. And you really, there's no words and language are so limiting already. So make sure you're choosing the labels and the words and the beliefs that are, as less limiting. I don't know if that's accurate grammar, but the least limiting words and beliefs and stories that you can about your life, about your reality, about yourself. Because we're all just pretty amazing. And, part of this bigger infinity is just keeping an open mind, allowing other people to have their realities. It's okay. They're not wrong. You have no way of judging what their reality is like. So just allow other people their realities. Allow yourself your own reality. Give yourself plenty of grace and permission to just be okay with whatever you're feeling, whatever you're thinking, without judging yourself and without labeling yourself or having limiting beliefs or telling yourself crap stories about your life and your experiences, because we are here to have experiences, lessons probably, and just be and be okay and be open to curiosity. Bring curiosity to everything and be open to just the possibilities, the unlimited possibilities, and the possibility that maybe we don't know everything. Maybe things don't really work the way we think they do. And maybe that's really cool and amazing because, sorry, my cat's wiggling the camera. Being okay with the unknown and not knowing, because that's just so cool. Like, it's just so amazing that we may not understand anything in this life, but we can enjoy the heck out of it regardless. So how about that? I'll leave it there. And if you have any questions or comments, or you want to talk about things that you believe in, or have any comments about what I said in the podcast, go ahead and feel free to comment below. If you have any questions or any topics you want me to cover, you can also leave those in the comments below, or you can email me at beth@violetsparkenergy.com. All right, you guys have a good day, and if you're in the path of the hurricane, stay safe. I'll send love and energy your way. All right, take care and make fun choices.